we cut this song, and the response was so great, and we had no label. And so we went down to downtown Birmingham, the station manager and I, and he said, we need to go see a recording studio and see if we can get a label. So we walked into a Homer Milan's studio, and we said, we've got a hit record, and we need to borrow a label. And he said, borrow a label for what? We said, we've got a hit record. And he said, well, let me hear it. And he heard it. He said, pick a label. He had about 15 labels. And I picked Reed because of Jimmy Reed. And, that's how I got on Reed. And then the next year, a record label called Heart here in Birmingham that had artists like Jerry Woodard and Bobby Goldsboro and many, many other artists. But they decided they wanted to cut it. And the rest of my music career pretty much was controlled by producers. I didn't get to do the songs exactly like I thought they ought to be done. And the second version of Panama City Blues is a good example of that. With saxophones and girls and all that stuff. And it still is a good song, good record. And then the rest I mentioned, that the one I did in Atlanta. And I also recorded a song called Sunshine that I cut that at Fame in Memphis. Well, not a lot of people knew that there was a Fame studio in Memphis, but there was. And while I was up there when we finished recording, and I went 3 or 4 times to Memphis to continue to finalize the recording. And one day Booker T. Jones walked in while we were doing some mixing and heard the track and said, hey, I'd like to lay something down on that. So Booker T. Jones is on it. And the band that played in the studio band was actually the Hombres that did Let It All Hang Out. And they were a trip, and they did Let It All Hang Out.
And what was that released on?
That was on Surefire.
Oh, okay.
And that's a good story, and I guess I should tell it. When the guy that produced my song paid for the songs in the session over in Atlanta, a guy named Wendell Parker, no relationship to me, but another Parker, and we recorded it, and Wendell went to Mercury Records. He was a record producer and was well known in the bigger markets. Excuse me. And Wendell went to Mercury Records and said, I got a hit record by Larry and the Loafers, and it's called Let's Go to the Beach. And this is the one that Emery Gordy and I wrote together on the studio floor in an hour. Mercury said, well, sounds great. They heard it. They said, we like the song. And he said, well, I need $3,500 front money to pay for the session, to offset the session cost. And the guy I was talking to said, well, here's the deal. See, I've got Larry and the Loafers, Let's Go to the Beach for $3,500, and I've got this song from a group over in South Carolina, the Swingin' Medallions, called Double Shot, free. Which one do you think I should take? And of course, they took Double Shot, and the rest is history with that record. And that's why I alluded a few minutes ago to the fact that it ended up on a label that was a blues label, and when disc jockeys would see that label, they wouldn't even try it, they wouldn't even play it, because they didn't understand that it wasn't a blues song. Let's Go to the Beach was not a blues song either. So.
Right.